Hello, everyone, and welcome to class. So this is class 2 of IELTS reading. Okay, so uh, if you haven't watched like the first one, uh, please go watch the first one first. Okay, so it's gonna be about reading and IELTS. So this would be a little bit of introduction, so you know what we're kind of looking on. Okay, so when we talk about like IELTS reading, so there's gonna be 3 reading texts. Okay, so and one text would be like 2 pages. So you will read roughly about 6 pages long, and you have to answer 40 questions in total, and you have 1 hour. Okay, so this is the general idea of what you're gonna have to do. And I mean, in the 40 questions here, so you will be doing different tasks, which is like true, false, not giving, or yes, no, not given. It's kind of more or less the same thing. Okay, and there will be fill in the blanks, matching heading, multiple choices, and so in the first class, so we go over these two, which is true, false, not given, okay, and fill in the blanks already. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna focus on matching headings and multiple choice question, okay, and just to aware that like this would be kind of similar to like the second reading in the test. So if you have a look at the text, you will aware that uh, it will be a little bit more difficult than the first reading. So in the test, like, reading 1, 2, and 3, it's like the easiest to the hardest. Okay, so it's kind of in order, just kind of that, like the first one, the language will be a little bit general, like it's gonna be more of general English, general text, general topic. So something that you could find in daily life, I would say. But when it's come to like second, so the style will be more academic. Okay, so like the vocabulary and the style that they write will be a little bit more academic. And when it comes to the last one, like reading 3, which is our next class, it's gonna be like kind of like academic text. So it's gonna be like about researches, and it's gonna be like the vocabulary is gonna be more difficult. Okay, so that's how it works in reading IELTS. Okay, so before we kind of start, before I start teaching you about like the reading text itself, I want you to like try to complete the task first. Okay, so you should have these materials for this class. Okay, and it's reading section 2 here. Okay, and the reading text that you have to read would be here on the right. Okay, so this one, and go all the way to paragraph G. So there's 2 parts. Okay, so from paragraph A to G, and then the tasks that you have to do, I mean, as if in the text, which would be here, question 1 to 7. Okay, question 1 to 7, and what you have to do here is that there's gonna have like list of heading. Okay, so there's gonna be like list of heading here, so the list, and then they want you to match the list to the paragraph. Okay, so like A, B, C, and so on until like paragraph G. So they want you to match, kind of the content, which headings match to, which paragraph. Okay, so this is the first task. And then another task that we're going to do is from 8 to 13. Okay, so there's going to be 13 in total. So this one is more of a multiple choice question. And this one, what you have to do is that you have to choose choices because it's multiple choices. But you will see that they say like 2 for each question. So you will say like question 8 and 9. So you choose 2 out of 5. Okay. 10 and 11, 2 out of 5, and then another 2 out of like 5 choices. Okay, so these are, the tasks that you have to do in the test. And as I mentioned earlier, you have 1 hour, 3 text. So for this one, you should spend about 20 minutes to complete like 13 questions. Okay, so just before you continue the video, I want you to complete this. So time yourself for 20 minutes and complete it like from 1 to 13 before we like have a look. Okay, so just complete these 13 questions. Okay, and continue the video afterwards. Okay, so we'll probably see you about 20 minutes. So please pause the video now and complete the task. And as you continue the video, I hope that you finish all like 13 questions. So it's gonna be this one. Yeah. So, and like this one. Okay, so 13 questions. I hope that you'll finish. So we're gonna have a look at how to work on like this task matching heading. So we're gonna start off with this one first. But before I talk about the answer itself, I think you should know one thing, okay, which is more or less the same thing as writing. So if you like already know like about writing, so it's more or less the same thing, okay, and it's academic writing, okay. So what I want to talk about is the structure of academic text. Okay, so if you I mean, think about when you write academic paragraph. Okay, so I'll just focus on like only paragraph level. So when you study writing, it's actually could be like, introduction, bodies, paragraph, and conclusion, like for the whole essays. But I want to focus on only the body paragraph for this one. Okay, so when you write like a paragraph, okay, a paragraph in an essay, so which I mean the body paragraph. So there are some components that you need to have, and it's actually something that people would do. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. So you should know the structure as well. So when you write a paragraph, you should follow this I mean order, and also when you read something academically, like it would more or less follow kind of this pattern as well. Okay, so actually the main components would be topic, sentence, and supporting details. This is like the main one. When you read something, like when you read a paragraph, you should find the topic, sentence, and also its supporting details. So a topic sentence means like the main idea, okay, of a paragraph. So when you have like one paragraph, so it means that you should have like one main idea. So if you have the second, like, another idea, like you start a new paragraph. So basically, in one paragraph, there should be like one main idea, and also like supporting details. So it means like you try to explain it. Okay. So if we talk about like reading, so it means that like one paragraph that you read would contain like more or less like one main idea, and they try to explain it so that you have the same kind of picture. I mean, between like what they try to deliver and then what you get. Okay, so if they only have the main idea, like that's one sentence, sometimes you could misunderstand it. Sometimes like you have the background knowledge and things. So so I would say they have to explain more, give more details so that you can kind of have the same picture. So for example, if I say like, I don't like public transportation. Okay. So, like right now in your mind, like, you might have a lot of different modes of transportation. Like, in Bangkok, it could be like BTS, MRT, bus, boat, bike, motorbike, taxi, whatever. So, but like when I say this, like you don't really know what I mean by I hate public transportation, isn't it? So I have to explain more of what I mean so that you understand what I'm trying to say. For example, like I don't like, the rush hour because like, when MRT, BTS is like so crowded. So, I mean, I would focus more on like, BTS and MRT. So if I don't explain it, you wouldn't really know, or you are not sure of what I talk about. Okay. So in order to understand, the whole thing, you have to kind of find the topic sentence and also understand the supporting detail as well, so that you kind of understand the whole thing. Okay. So these are the two main things. And another thing that sometimes they have it is the introduction. So this is not an introductory paragraph. So this is just an introduction, which is maybe like one sentence or two maximum in a paragraph. Okay. And you could also have like the conclusion of a paragraph. So in one paragraph. So it's kind of like a landing, and then it could kind of connect to the next paragraph. So, but these two, introduction and conclusion in one paragraph is not necessary. Okay, so I mean, just in case if you think it's smoother, it's gonna make your paragraph flow better, you can add it, but it actually like it's not necessary. But these two are like the main thing. Okay, so when we link back to the text, okay, so when we link back to the text, which is to find the heading. So actually, when we talk about a heading is the main idea of a paragraph, isn't it? So when you try to, when you try to do these tags, like, tags type matching heading, so it's mean that basically they want you to find the main idea of a paragraph and then match to, the main idea basically. Okay, so back to this one, back to the tags. Okay, so before I tell you the answer, so what you should be doing is that actually you try to find the main idea and then you match with the choices that they have. Okay, so let's have a look at, paragraph A, which they kind of have the answer for you. Okay, so I want you to have a look at the paragraph A again. Okay, and you will see the part that is underlined here. So this part is actually the topic sentence for this one. Okay, it's kind of like the topic sentence, and it's the main idea. And then these, like, the part afterward is like the supporting details. And then like the first part here, as I mentioned, it's kind of like a little introduction to a paragraph. So I want you to reread this one, okay? And then try to see the link between topic, sentence, and supporting details, like how it links. So I leave you a few minutes to have a look at like this paragraph. Okay, so let's have a look at, the link between the topic sentence and, the supporting. So if you have a look here, so actually like here, there are like two parts of the kind of like the topic sentence. So say like the question itself and then kind of like the answer to the question. So you will see this part, the topic sentence, they say like, what is the attraction of organic food for some people? And then they say, and then they answer it. The really important thing is it sounds more natural. Okay, so think about this, like when they say like it sounds more natural. So I would say in your mind, like the word natural is very like general. You would have, many different meanings or like feelings toward the word natural. Okay, so but this is like the main idea. And then they try to explain what do they mean by natural. See, so if you look at the supporting details, like natural, good, caring, different from junk food, scoffing masses. And then it says like closer to the source, kind of like the nature, the mother nature, which is like, nature. So it's like nature means like you eat something from like soil. So it's natural. Okay, so see this latter part, try to explain what it means by natural. So this is the supporting details. Okay, so if you focus on this part, so they try to say like, the organic sounds more natural, and then they try to explain, what it means by natural. So when you look at the answer here, so they say it's like the main reason for the popularity of organic food. So here the first paragraph, so they would talk about, organic food, of course, and then you see this sentence, attraction of organic food for some people. Yeah. So this is what they try to answer, right? So because it sounds more natural. So this one, so the main reason for popularity, so which means that it's, like kind of like attraction for people. So like, when a lot of people were attracted, so they are popular. So here, that's why the answer is number 8. Okay, so for paragraph A. So you will see that in order to complete this, so you should find topic sentence. Okay, so find a topic sentence so that you know what it talks about, because we want a heading, so the heading should be the main idea. So I mean, if you randomly pick like some sentences from the paragraph, it might not be the main idea. It could be, some details, some minor details. Okay, so and then you could get the wrong answer from it. Okay, so right now what I want you to do is that, like, before you continue the video, I want you to find a topic sentence for each paragraph, from paragraph B to paragraph G. Okay, so so you could match it to the heading. So right now, I believe that you already have the answers already. Okay, so what I want you to do is, find the topic sentence just to make sure that it links to, the heading that you choose. If it's not, so there will be something wrong. Either like a topic sentence is wrong, or the answer is wrong. Okay, so spend maybe, I would say, 5 or 10 more minutes. Okay, find a topic sentence for each paragraph. So from paragraph B to paragraph G. Okay, before you continue the video, and I will see you back in a bit, and then we're gonna talk about the answer afterwards. Okay, as you continue the video, so I guess you have all the topic sentences already. Okay, so we're gonna talk about a topic sentence, and then we're gonna talk about the answer right away for each paragraph. So you will see that on the screen, so paragraph B and paragraph C, I already have the topic sentence for you. You can check. Okay. And so what you should be doing as well, like when you find a topic sentence, is that you should make sure if, the supporting details kind of goes with the topic sentence that you choose, because sometimes, like, if it's in detail, like, it will not kind of linked. Okay, so just to make sure. Okay, so the paragraph B, so I choose this one. So the main idea is that organic approach means farming with natural rather than man-made fertilizers and pesticides. Okay, so before I go into like the details, one thing I want you to know is that, like, these words rather than this one, it comes often in IELTS. Like, you will see these words a lot. Like, at least I think like one rating. I mean, in one test you will see like one word like rather than. They kind of like it. And then be aware that, like, in IELTS, rather than would mean not. Okay, so it's mean not. So here, what they say here is organic approach means farming with natural, not human, like not pesticide, not fertilizers. So they try to say, like here, so what is organic farming? So approach mean like farming. So, and then you will see the supporting details here. They actually says like, what are the techniques that they use, like, the crop rotations, and then so like they would do is not the chemical, and they talks about like, what it's does and does not, like but they say that it's actually inefficient, and then they actually say the benefits of it. Okay, so they try to explain what it's mean by farming with natural. Okay, so this is like the main idea. So if you link back to, you know, the answer, so I would say the answer for paragraph B is number 5, description of organic farming, this one. So see, because it say like means, see here, so this word mean, so it's like the meaning, description, okay, to try to say what it means. Okay, so this is paragraph B, so the answer is 5. Okay, so this one. Let's move on to paragraph C. So paragraph C, you will see that I choose, you know, like the one in the middle, like not the first one. So one thing to look for is that the I would say the supporting details should support the main idea, isn't it? So if you look at the supporting details here, so this part. So they say that there was no difference between organic and conventional crops, like no difference. Okay, so and like there will be no effects on health. Okay, so there will be no difference between like conventional farming and organic farming. So no difference, or if it is, so there will be no effect on health. So the tone of it is not so positive for organic, isn't it? Because like there's no difference. So, but if you look at these two paragraphs, the first one, organic farming is often claimed to be safer. So see this part, safer. So when you say like, you know, it's safer, so it seems positive, isn't it? Like it seems very positive. Okay. Yet, and yet mean like but studies say that they kind of reject this claim. So rejects mean like they refuse it. So they disagree with it. Okay. So you will see that the first sentence and the second sentence, they are like in the opposite tones. Like one of it is like positive, one of it is like negative. And then when you look at the supporting details, when they say no difference, no benefits on health, so it's more of the negative. So that's why I choose this one. Yet study into organic farming, you know, reject the claim. So it's kind of the tone is negative. Okay, so I would say that the first part here, this one is more of an introduction to a paragraph, to the main idea. Okay, so so when we link back to list of heading that we want to match the heading, so the answer would be the first one. So because we talk about research, okay, it's like study is a research, okay, and then whether organic food is better for us. Okay, so like they kind of like, you know, have questions, like they kind of reject this claim, which claims means you know, safer, so better. So they kind of like question this part here. So you will see that if you choose like for these two, when you choose the correct topic sentence, you can kind of link to the answer. Like for example, like I would say like for paragraph B, like description to means, and then studies to research means the same thing. Okay, so if you choose the correct, I would say correct sentence, it will be easier when you choose headings. Okay, so this is for paragraph B and paragraph C. Okay, so let's move on to next paragraph. So let's have a look at paragraph D. So for this one, so I would say the main idea of paragraph D is this part. The health value of different foods will vary for a number of reasons. And so like this is the main idea. So like the main part. Actually, you could go from like food is natural products, and then let's go all the way to like the sentence. Okay. So, and if you have a look at the paragraph, so they talks about health value of different food vary for a number of reasons. So we kind of expect reasons. So they would talk about freshness, the way the food is cooked, type of soil, amount of sunlight, you know, like the flavor with the fertilizer, you know, and so on. So it talks about first like health value, and then varies like the reason. What are the reasons? Like the freshness, like, you know, the way the food is cooked, soil, like this. So these are the reasons. So the main idea of this of this program would be, you know, they would talk about like reasons here. So the answer for paragraph D would be number 3, which is the factors. So factors can match to reasons, and then food quality could match to health value of different food. Okay, so you will see again, once again, that you can kind of match, part of the sentence, part of the topic sentence to the choice. Okay, so again, factors is the number of reasons, and then health value match to food qualities. So you'll see like it's almost a synonyms. Yes, it's almost synonyms for these two. So this is for paragraph D. Okay. So let's move on to the rest. So I'm just gonna show the answer for paragraph E and F. Okay, so the main idea that I've got from paragraph E would be this part. The fact that many of our most common foods are full of natural toxins. So this is for E, and then F, I would say this one, scare of trace of food here. So this paragraph. So these are like the topics and things, like the main idea of the paragraph. So let's have a look at E. So when we talk about, it's natural toxins, so sometimes we don't understand. So they have like lots of example here, like parsnip, blister. So, like what could happen with, all the food, and toasting bread creates like carcinogens. So this is some kind of, cancer, some carcinogens like cancer. So so you will see that it talks about like some like toxins, so it's negative, so it's bad for our health. And then it's natural because like it's not from human, it's from just nature. So here, so they try to explain this one. And then if we move on to paragraph F, so it's talk about, they say that Europeans are more scared of eating trash of a food, blah, 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 than the one that they create them here. So basically they, so like here, we might like, why, what do they mean by like they scare, and then like, eating trash of man-made chemicals, like what it is, and what does it mean by like nature created directly. So they explain it here that they like, so this part they talk about like technology. So they talk about GM food, where like people kind of do something with the food genetically, and then they say like when we know what we do to it, when we do to the food itself, we are scared that we like do something, but we are not scared of of them when it comes from nature. So that's what it's explained here. See, so they would talk about like GM food, and then like the natural one. Okay, so this is the main idea. So the answer for E and F would be so for paragraph E, it would be number 9. So the need to remove hidden dangers from food. So because if you remember paragraph E, we talk about natural toxins, and then like there's that what it could cause us. So that's why it's hidden dangers to natural toxins, because it's hidden, natural toxins hidden because it's something that we don't really think of. Like we don't really think of that like they would have toxins. Okay. And then paragraph F, the answer would be number 7 here, fear of science. So like scared. So it's matched to the word scare. Okay. And then we talk about like organic trends here. So the answer would be number 7. And the last one, paragraph G, I think this one is a little bit tricky. Okay, so for this one, so this part here, if you have a look, there are like 2 different tones to this paragraph. And then, so if you have a look at like the first part, like the first half of the paragraph, it's kind of positive. It's kind of positive. And then the like towards the end is kind of negative, because there's kind of like 2, I would say 2 tones to it for this paragraph, like both positive and negative. So I would say actually the main idea I would goes all the way to like, So I would say like 2 sentences here for this paragraph. Because as I mentioned, this part here, it seems positive. They talk about European city, like European people, where they like organic foods kind of like, like good for them, good for them. But they would talk about, Africa as well. So this latter part, and then it talks about how bad it is to have organic food, in Africa. So, there's 2 different tone. And if you have a look at how they say it, it's kind of like half. They explain like half of it is positive, half of it is negative. So they are both main idea because they were like kind of like half to this. Like they try to explain, both of them. So that's why for this one, they kind of like two different tone. And then here, if we look at the topic sentence, you will see that they talk about like, expensive luxury shoppers in Europe, but for developing parts, it's irrelevant. So it's like, no, it's the opposite. So you will see, and then supporting details kind of support like the 2 sentences here. Okay, so back to the answer. So the answer for G would be choice 4. So rich and poor sitting differently. So see the word differently. So it's like 2 opposite tone. And also rich and poor, which would be European, side. And then poor would be like Africa. Okay, so this is a tricky one because sometimes a lot of students would answer number 2, which is like adding up cost, because they would talk about, like expensive, they kind of talk about money. So, but if you really understand, like the supporting detail, they don't really talk about the cost itself. They just say that like it's good for those in Europe and then bad for those in Africa. So just to go over the answer again so that you could check, okay? So B is 5, 1, and 3. Okay, so this is for the B, C, and D, and then E, F, and G, it will be like 9, 7, and 4. So these are the answer to the first task. And you will see that in order to get to the answer, there, like you could be sure by like choosing the paragraph. And I do know that some of you might like, when you read it and then you kind of get the main idea and you could choose it right away and then it could work. Okay, so it could work for you as well. But just be aware that if you kind of want to be sure about, the answer. So for reading, you should get the answer itself from, I would say the text, okay? Because I mean, sometimes when you just pop up, like when you just understand, like you skim it and then you kind of like, understand the vibe and tone of it, sometimes it's wrong. Okay. So this is the first part of it. And then this is the heading. There always be like the heading tags in IELTS. It will come once. And usually it will be in the second reading, which is like, in the middle in terms of level of difficulty. And personally speaking, if these tags appear in the third reading, it will be very, very difficult because the tags itself, the reading itself, the content of the reading itself would be like difficult. So, and then you will see that in order to answer this part, you have to read a lot. Okay, you have to read like in details almost every paragraph in order to get to the answer. So this one, it will take a lot, quite some time to complete it. Okay, so then let's move on to the next task, which is this one, multiple choice question. So for this one, when it comes to multiple choice question, one thing that you should be aware of is that like see the instruction clearly, because they say choose 2. Okay, so like I mean for 8 and 9. So I mean if you like happen to just choose one, so you miss 1 point right away, because like 8 and 9, so like 1 for 8 and 1 for 9, and then if you just choose one, so you won't lose, basically I would say 3 points out of these 6 questions. Okay, so like very, very be careful with the I would say with the instruction on how to answer it. So again, when we have a look at the IELTS task, what I want you to do is that I want you to be able to choose your answer from the text. Okay, and when you choose this, so it's multiple choice. So the choice that you choose is like the correct one. So one thing to be aware of is that they will try to trick you. So I mean, if you wanna choose, like if you wanna choose part of the text for choice A to E, you will find it. But there will be some kind of like tricky, I would say like word in the text. So very, very be careful, okay? So before you continue the video, you continue to like this part, I want you to, I mean, go back to the text and check with the choice. So I want you to choose, you know, like the part of the text. So like highlight part of the text that contains, you know, choice A to choice E answer. Like, I mean, of course, you will usually find most of it in the text. So for example, you would find, you know, occasional use of pesticides and whatsoever. So you could kind of find part of the text for it, but there will be tricky part that it's wrong. Okay. So if you compare these tags to like true, false, not given, the choice that you choose, like the correct choice would be true. You could kind of choose and match. And then the rest, it might be like false or not given. Okay. So, but what I'm trying to say here is that you can choose part of the text to match with choices. Okay. So pause the video right now and choose, you know, part of the text that goes with each choice. So choose it as many as you can, okay? And especially if you choose the one that is like you think that it's the correct choice, you have to find the text, okay, just in order to be sure. Okay, so I'll pause the video and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, so if you look at the screen now, you would see the highlight here. Okay, and this represents choice A to choice E for question 8 and 9. Okay, so the question they talks about, you know, the points they made about organic farming. So I mean, the first task that you did, like when you did the reading, I mean the heading one. So and then if you can kind of like remember what it says, like the flow of the text, this would help you as well. Okay, and then this part is what they talk about, you know, the organic aspect of it. Okay, so if you have a look at the choice, the first one, occasional use of pesticides. See, so here pesticide, they would talk about same few different crops. So this is crop rotation. They talk about testing soil quality, this one. And they talk about reducing the number of farm workers. So they talk about labor here, and also a production of greenhouse gases. So like this one, carbon dioxide. And then for the last one here, they kind of expect you to have the background knowledge that carbon dioxide is part of the greenhouse gases. So you will see that IELTS require some background knowledge from the test takers as well. So as I mentioned that you will see 5 choices, like they will all have it. Okay, so like you will have the choices here. So it's not that you would just find the choices and then answer it. So like when you try to find it, so what you are doing is you scan the text. Okay, so and then it's not enough. You have to do the detailed comprehension as well, so that you know you understand it in details. Okay, so let's have a look at each choice. So the first choice, they say that occasional use of pesticides. But look at this part here. They say they do like farming with nature rather than, so as I mentioned, rather than means not in IELTS, so not man-made, not fertilizer, not pesticide as well. So not occasional, but like it's actually like no pesticide. So this one is wrong. So choice A is wrong. Even if they contains like the word pesticide, but it's wrong because this in the choice they say occasional, which is like some from time to time, sometimes, but this one no pesticide. The second one, using the same few different crops. So crop rotation, this one. So the technique here, so they would use this technique, isn't it? So this one, the answer is true. So choice B is the correct one. Okay, and then choice C, test soil quality. So this one, soil quality. For this part is said to improve soil quality. When we talk about the word improve, so it means that you want something to be better. So if you improve something, so definitely better. But if you look at the choice testing soil quality, when you test something, it could be good or bad. Like you don't really know, it could turn out, good and bad. So it's kind of not given. I mean, if we compare to true, false, not given tags. So not for soil quality and not for this one because we don't really know if it's improved or not. Choice C, reduce the number of farm workers. So when you say reduce, so reduce the number. So it's mean like they have, fewer workers. So fewer numbers. So maybe like if it's conventional, they will have 5. If they reduce it, they may be 2. Okay. But in this case, there's an inefficiency in its use of labor. So it means that it's not efficient, but ไม่มีประสิทธิภาพ. Think about a restaurant and then they are inefficient in its use of labor. ใช้คนแบบไม่มีประสิทธิภาพ. I would think of a time when there's a lot of workers, but no customers. Usually it would turn out like that like there were too many people working, but like no customer, nothing to do. So this one is wrong because it's inefficient. It like have nothing to do with, fewer workers. And then this one, amount of carbon dioxide emitted. So emit, when we talk about like gases, emit คือแบบปล่อย release นะเพราะฉะนั้น so it's matched to the word production. So for this one, the answer for 8 and 9, it would be choice B and choice E. So these two. Okay, so as I mentioned again, it's kind of, I would say more or less the same as, I mean, true, false, not given, very similar. You have to find like choices, they will all have it. And most of the time they will all have it. Sometimes it just does not really match, okay? But you have to do the detailed comprehension in order to choose correctly, okay? So this is for 8 and 9. Okay, so if we talk about, let's move on to 10 and 11. Okay, 10 and 11. So they talk about, the question asks about nutritional content of the food. So it would talk about paragraph D here, paragraph D. So we're gonna, because it's split into 2, so we're gonna go, we will have a look at the first part here on the first page. And I would say, who prepared the food? I would say that it's matched to this part here. Okay, so let's have a look at this one just for now. Okay, so they say who prepare the food. So like prepare the food, I think that they want you to kind of match it to like the food is cooked. But when they mention who, so it's a person. But this part here, they talk about the way, and I think it would be more of the word how, not who. So they talk about like kind of the same topic, that the food is cooked, but kind of in different kind of details, which is the way, how, or like who, which is people. Okay, so choice A is not the answer. And when we move on to choice B, the weather conditions during growth. So it's like here, so the weather condition, and where the food has been stored, I would say they try to trick you with this one, plastic sack. So like, plastic sack, like you store food there. When the plants removed from the earth, so it's here. And then the last one, type of farm. And this is type of farm using organic or inorganic system of production. So again, you will see that 5 choices you can kind of choose, for all of them, for all of them here. So let's go into detail whether it's right or wrong. Okay, so the choice B, so the weather and the weather conditions. So it's like amount of sunlight and rains that crops have received. So like sunlight and rain, this could be the weather. So choice C is correct. So choice C, where the food has been stored. Okay, so let's look at this part. Flavor of carrots has less to do, okay, whether it's using kind of fertilizer from a plastic sack of the carrot. So less to do. So this is not. So they would say like not this part. And then they actually didn't really mention where the food has been stored, because this part, something out of a plastic sack would be fertilizer,ปุ๋ย, and so they would talk about fertilizer. So this part is kind of wrong. And choice D, when the plants were removed from the earth. So when we talk about time, and then it's how long. Okay, so it's about time. Also, this one is correct. So the answer for 10 and 11 is B, boy and B, dog. And then let's look at the last one. So every time, like when you get the answer already, like 2 already, please check the rest as well if you have more time, because sometimes like you would just misunderstand it. So you should check for all choices. So for this one, they say the differences created by these things. So these things, they would mean like, the weather, the duration, how long it was dug up. So they say like these differences are likely to be greater than differences. So this one matters and this one doesn't matter. So using organic or non-organic, so they say it doesn't matter because it's like, less than these differences. So that's why this one, they would actually say like false. So it's not because of organic or non-organic system. So the answer for this one, yet again, it's B, boy and D, dog. Okay, and let's move on to the last part. And the last part I would say is a little bit tricky. Okay, so for this one, so I will highlight the answer for you, like the choices that it contains the answer. Okay, so let's have a look at these two parts for now. Okay, so I would say this part, the closer a plant is to its natural state, the more likely that it will poison you. This one match to choice B. Okay, so this part. So it says like organic food, which is kind of like natural thinking, and then they say like it will poison you. So this one is correct because it's matched to choice B, that make you sick, which is like poison you. So for choice C and choice D, I would say it's kind of talks about like this part here, because they talks about like specially trained, and then also technological expertise. They would talk about like more or less the same thing. And then I think it's more of like this part. So here it says that it talks about ability to use. So ability to use, I would say it could link to like especially train, because you have to train to like have the ability to use it, and also require too much technological expertise. So this part here, so they say like we cannot really use it wisely. So they try to trick you as this part actually say, that it talks about like technology. Okay, and then the society have little faith. So it means that they actually like don't believe in technology. We don't believe that like we could use technology wisely. Okay, so it has nothing to do with how we train the farm workers, and also it have nothing to do with expertise. So because it actually talks about ability to use it, not the not the expertise itself or like, you know, how we train. So, so choice C and choice D is wrong. Okay, so let's move on to the last one. So of course, choice E would be correct answer. So we already go over this part already. So it say like it's not possible in some country. So it's actually this part to a farmer in rural Africa. It is a disaster. So it's a disaster. So like it's bad, right? So a disaster is bad. So so it's not possible. So it's like it's disaster if you do it. It's like very, very bad. Something bad will happen. So choice E is correct for this one. So you will see that for like this part, you will always have to look for the text. I mean, look for the I would say look for the part of the text that match to the choice, and then you have to kind of read in details, understand it, you know, a lot before you choose it. So it's not just that you would like, you know, just choose the one that you find in the text, because like kind of all of them, most of them, you would find it in the text anyway. Okay, so and this is the answer. Okay, this is the answer for you know, number 8 to number 13. Okay, so back again to the way that we do it. So it's like skimming, so scanning, and then detail comprehension. So scanning, when you try to choose, you know, try to choose part of the text that match with choices, and then you have to understand it in detail. So it's detail comprehension. But for the skips, there's the skimming. So actually, you would do it for the first task, which is when you match the heading. So you kind of go all the way through, and then if you can remember where you know, the information, you know, in the text is, so it's quicker because you can just jump right to the text. Okay, and this is actually how you would do the reading tasks. So try to adapt it into the way that you think it's matched with your style, but one thing is that don't do it from your memories. So, and this is it for reading 2. Okay, so I hope that it helps you to get the correct answer. Okay, so then that's it for this class. Okay, and I will see you for the third reading.